A young player on the Red Sox farm team was making his own history. Carl Michael Yastrzemski was to inherit Ted Williams' place on the team and eventually win the hearts of New England fans.
Oh, the first couple of years, there was tremendous pressure on me when I took over left field. Ted Williams was Ted Williams. I think he was the greatest hitter that ever lived in baseball. I think the fans expected another Ted Williams. We were just completely different. He was 6'5", 220 pounds, and I was 5'11", 180 pounds. It put tremendous pressure on me. I really didn't relax and say became Carl Yastrzemski until 1963 when I won a batting title. I just made up my mind that I couldn't do the things that he could offensively, but maybe defensively, combined with offense, I could be a pretty good player.
Pretty good was an understatement to describe Yaz's playing. Sensational was more like it. Though Fenway's distant right field was intimidating, the park did have its advantages.
Great background at Fenway Park. I think that's why you have so many action-filled games. I mean, they talk about the short wall and left field. Yeah, that comes into play, but you still have to hit a ball pretty good to reach left field wall. I just think why there's so much hitting is because of the tremendous background, being able to pick up the ball so well.
Yaz's triumphs in the field and at the plate would carry the Red Sox to their 5th World Series. A young, aggressive, and hungry team started the 1967 season as underdogs. The odds for the Sox winning the pennant were 100-1. But something happened that year. Every player on the team performed outstandingly. Some even say above their abilities. When the pitching failed, the hitters hit. And when the sluggers slumped, the fielders pulled it out. The Red Sox were a team that was winning.
A great catch by Yastrzemski.
I think you had a tremendous amount of talent, and they were all young. At that time, I probably was the oldest ball player, and I was 26 years old. You had your Petrocellis, you had your Canigliaro, you had your Reggie Smith, Joe Foys. You go on and on and on, and all of a sudden, the Lombergs, all of a sudden we gelled.
It just was such a different type of ball club. It was a combination of kids and veterans, but a team that there's no way we thought we were going to win the thing. We just wanted to come in first division at the time, and we'd be really happy. And then before the All-Star break, we were right up there, and we started to believe it. Hey, maybe we can do this year. Who knows? And then we won 10 in a row after the All-Star game. And then we said, man, we got a chance at this. Let's really go. And it happened.
September 30th, 1967, the last game of the season. The Sox were playing the Minnesota Twins. Their season record, 91 wins and 70 losses. At the same time, the Detroit Tigers were playing the California Angels. To win the American League Championship, the Sox had to beat the Twins, and the Tigers had to lose. The pitcher that day was Jim Lonborg.
Everybody, whoever pitches a baseball game would probably love to have been in my shoes on that particular day. I think it's something that we all really look forward to as kids, to be carried off at the end of the game, at the end of the season like the Red Sox had was, you know, without a doubt the greatest joy in my life.
The team that was a 100-1 and became the impossible dream team. The St. Louis Cardinals were the National League champs and the Red Sox again the underdogs, but they managed to make the World Series a fight for the highly rated Cardinals. In Game 6 at Fenway, the Sox stopped the Cards and forced the series to go to 7 games.
Boston wins and forces the series to the limit, 7 games.
In Game 7, the Sox went to their ace pitcher, Jim Lonborg, but Gentleman Jim was working on 2 days' rest. He couldn't hold the Cardinals, and St. Louis went on to win.
McCarver and Shannon score ahead of Javier in a joyous parade that gives St. Louis a commanding 7-1 margin.
We don't talk about losing the 7th game. We just had a great time getting to the World Series.
The 75 team actually reminded me a little of the 67 team. He had all this young talent coming up. Good talent, your Rice, your Lynn, your Burleson, your Fisk. I think we were just a little weak in pitching.
The 1975 World Series will go down in history as one of the most exciting ever played. The games produced thrill after thrill. Fenway was the site of Game 1, 2, 6, and 7. The pitching arms of Louis Tiant and Bill Lee propelled the Red Sox into the series. Tian and Lee had winning records at Fenway despite the park's unforgiving characteristics.
Fenway Park is a pitcher's park if you're a pitcher. If you're a thrower, you cannot pitch in Fenway Park because you don't know how to pitch. I learned that if you're a breaking ball pitcher and the wind's blowing out, you've got to have immaculate control of your breaking ball, and you've got to throw hard and make the ball sink. When the wind's blowing in, you can do anything you want. You're going to win.
There's that play, Tony. Lee is going to try for the man at second, and he's got him.
A power pitcher will dominate anybody in any park, and a finesse pitcher will dominate anybody in any park if he's got his control. But Fenway Park, it limits you. You have to make good pitches all the time if you're a finesse pitcher.
Tian, a great power pitcher, agrees that control is the main factor in pitching.
No matter what park you play, you don't have that control. That now you're pitching, and you don't make a mistake you're not supposed to make. You don't want to win anywhere, no matter what park you pitch.
Tian won 2 games in the World Series. He pitched a shutout in Game 1 and hit a single to start the winning rally in the 7th inning. A surprising performance since playing with the designated hitter rule allowed Tian to bat only once during that year.
And Louis gets a base hit.
One of the most exciting games in World Series history came in Game 6. A 4-day rain delay, seesaw scoring, fantastic plays brought high drama to the game. But the last half of the 12th inning brought an image that to this day stands unmatched in Boston baseball history.
Everybody that has played the game or has watched the game over the years always remembers that, so it was really nice to be a part of that, and especially, I guess, because it happened in Fenway Park, one of the oldest ballparks in the major leagues. I can remember my first at-bat in Fenway Park in 1969. It was against Mickey Lolich, and 3 pitches later, I'm walking back to the dugout. But that was not a very, that's a memorable at-bat, but obviously not a very monumental at-bat.
There's a looper. They drop. It's in for a hit. Here comes the throw to third. Rose hits the dirt. He's safe. And there goes Morgan down to second. And the Reds have the lead 4-3.
The Sox lost the series in a heartbreaker.
Top of the 9th inning, he put the Reds ahead. There's a high fly ball. It should be all over. Geronimo's under. And Cincinnati has won the World Championship, beating the Boston Red Sox 4-3.
For Yaz, the loss of the series was not as bad as the loss of Red Sox players that followed.
Lynn and Fisk and Burleson left the ball club, and that kind of, at that point in my career, tore me up a little because I was old already, knew I had a few more years left, and see ball players of this caliber leave. All of a sudden you go from a pennant contender down to nothing. So that bothered me a little.
Yaz never again played on a championship team, but he set new records.
Near the wall, and there it is! Home run number 400, Carl Yastrzemski. Now, listen and watch.
I think the 2 toughest things for me to achieve was the 2 goals of 3,000 hits and 400 home runs because it was personal achievement. We were not involved in the pennant race both that year. We were way out, and it made it difficult on me, whereas in '67, when I won a Triple Crown, because we were in a pennant race, I never even thought about it. When I went for the individual goals and we weren't involved in a pennant race, everything centered on me, and it put a lot of pressure on me.
When Yaz retired in 1983, he felt the same emotion Ted had experienced earlier.
You will think of me as a winner because I feel just playing one game at Fenway Park makes me a winner.
In one sense, I was happy that I was finally retiring, and after 23 years, coming out of baseball, and I knew I had enough. It was time to get out. But yet, when you worked at something for so long and enjoyed it so much, I was torn. It was like my life had ended. And it's hard to explain, but that's the way it was. It was just like, boom, it was all over.
1986, the Sox had it all. Pitching, hitting, fielding, and the necessary luck. They started out the season winning in April and never let up. This was their year to win. The Red Sox played and defeated the California Angels in 7 games to win the American League pennant. Then they faced the National League champions, the New York Mets, in the World Series. They were underdogs, but the Red Sox gave the Mets a run for their money, forcing the series to go to 7 games. The Sox lost Game 7 at Shea Stadium. The disappointment in no way diminished the fact that Fenway Park was the home of the champion.
Fastball high, and he chased it again.
So far, there's a lot of balls that you hit real well that don't go out of the park.
There's so many angles and nooks and crannies in this ballpark. It changes the game a lot. So yeah, it does change your play.
If you didn't grow up coming to Fenway Park, its location, size, and looks can be quite a shock when you first walk in. But for the fan, that shock quickly gives way to excitement because you're so close to the action and you can see, hear, and feel almost every play. However, for the players, it's a lot different. They have to make quite a few adjustments to adapt to Fenway's unique quality. Right fielder Dwight Evans began his pro baseball career at Fenway. He has a lot of respect for the park and is keenly aware of how Fenway's small size affects the way teams play.
This field is a slow field, and you can't help but play differently. Everything is slowed down. The ball is slowed down. The guys that are running are slowed down. A ball that would not be a home run in other ballparks might be a home run here. A ball that would be out of any ballpark could hit the wall and you could be standing on first base.
There with a double.
First baseman Bill Buckner played in the National League as well as the American League. He discovered that the old ballparks, Wrigley Field and Fenway Park, have more in common than just their age.
The wind has a lot to do with the kind of game it's going to be. With the wind's blowing in, generally low-scoring game. The wind blows out, it's usually high-scoring games.
The wall, the green monster, is something that exists in no other ballpark. It's the elusive siren that calls to every slugger. It sits there, daring you to hit one out. The wall is the 10th player at Fenway. Third baseman Wade Boggs considers it a valuable asset for him and the Red Sox.
Really, Fenway Park was built for me because I've always hit the ball to left field, and I'm a left-handed hitter. And having the wall which enables me to utilize it, and I really don't pull the ball. So really, Fenway Park was built for me. When teams come in here to play Boston, they really can't adjust to the wall. As far as the defense goes, when we hit a ball off the wall, we can go on and go to second, whereas when they hit one off the wall, they think they can make second base, and Jimmy Rice throws them out at second, so I think that'll help us down the road.
To left field, and Rice has to play the carom.
Of course, like I said, it's my wall.
Left fielder Jim Rice claims ownership of the green monster because he was the first Red Sox player to play the wall after it was reconstructed.
The biggest thrill, I think, for anyone to play left field is trying to hold a guy to a single. Try not to let him get a double. I think if the ball hit the wall and you hold him to a single, your job is done.
Manager John McNamara believes American League rule changes diminish the impact of the wall.
Well, the wall doesn't come in as much effect now because of the designated hitter. Before, when the pitchers hit, it could be a headache like Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out. You can go through your pitching staff in a day if it's a high-scoring ball game, but it's not. It doesn't enter into it that much now with the DH.
2 is his favorite count, Wade Boggs.
0-1.
Well, I think Fenway is probably the best hitter's park in baseball right now.
very little foul ground, and you got so much margin for getting ahead.
See what he does. Fastball, and it's fouled away. The only walk.
You know, I wish they had just a little bit more foul territory. I would at least make it somewhat more of a pitcher's ballpark. You know, as far as the shortness of the wall and all that stuff, it gives and takes, but a little more foul territory would be nice.
Pitcher Bruce Hurst knows exactly why Fenway earned its reputation of not being hospitable to pitchers. But his 16-8 record, 8-3 at Fenway, dispels the myth that a southpaw can't win in cozy Fenway.
It's really not that bad to pitch in. It's, you know, it presents a lot of different problems, and it's a unique place to pitch. So, you know, I don't mind playing there.
Cy Young winner Roger Clemens didn't seem to mind either. He finished the season with a 25-5 record, 11-3 at Fenway, and a 20 strikeout game.
They say a power pitcher can't win there, but I like it, and I've had a good time there, and I wouldn't change it for a minute. I'd like it because the fans are right on top of you.
Clemens has set a major league record for strikeouts in a game. They're sending Henderson home.
Fenway intimidates coaches as well as players. Former Red Sox shortstop and third base coach Johnny Pesky can testify to that.
Third base coaching is probably a very difficult job in this ballpark. You got to know the outs, whether you're ahead or behind. You cannot take an extra base probably in a close ball game, and usually you have to get a runner's attention, especially balls hit off the wall.
Fastball whacked into right center.
You have to give signs that are clear, and these are the things that are most difficult, especially in this ballpark.
Henderson for three. He is in there.
Joe Morgan now coaches in the bullpen, but in the 85 and part of the 86 season, he coached first base. And coaching first base is an art in Fenway.
There are a lot of runners that need help. They hit the ball off that wall, and right away they think double. But it's very close out there, and that ball can get to second base in a hurry coming back. So there are several of them that you have to stop, or they'll keep going until they're out. So there's some judgment involved, especially at first in this park, where not so much in other parks in the big league.
But McNamara isn't intimidated. He's mastered playing the park and has no desire to manage at any other park.
But Fenway is unique. It's a fine ballpark to play in. The one thing about it, in the new multi-purpose stadiums, the people are not as close to the field as they are in Fenway, and you get a lot more fan reaction in that regard.
Everyone eagerly awaits the announcement of the starting lineups. Who's going to be the starting pitcher? Who's going to play first? Who's going to be at third? Who's going to be in the outfield? But there's a whole other team made up of hundreds of people who not only enable the Red Sox to play on the field, but allow the fans to come here to Fenway Park and have a good time. If there's one person who could be called essential to play at Fenway Park, it's Joe Mooney. He's the man in charge of maintaining the field and stands.
How's that one, all right?
And you can see him out there almost every day from February to September directing the action.
I'm in.
He's demanding, but he makes sure Fenway keeps its reputation as one of the best, if not the best, maintained parks in the country. If there's anyone who can answer everything and anything you want to know about Fenway, Mooney is the man. How about what kind of grass?
All Marion bluegrass.
And the dirt?
The infield dirt and baselines is sandy soil. There's no clay in it. The only clay that's in is the batter's box in front where the pitcher follows through and pitches off the rubber. That's all clay. The rest is all a sandy soil.
Taking care of the pitcher's mound on the field and in the bullpen is Jim McCarthy's job. He's got the experience to do it, 40 years at Fenway.
When they dig in to get a bite in front of the rubber here, and the ball will through usually a hole right here. They're all different sizes, and the holes vary here and there all over the place. So you got to fill them in every day. It's an interesting job, but they got to be just right or you know about it. In fact, the league sends a supervisor around 2 or 3 times a year to see that they're right.
While Jim McCarthy's taking care of the mounds, another 40-year veteran, Fred Leathers, is repairing chairs. During the course of a year, he and others fixed over 23,000 seats.
Originally they were wood, and you couldn't keep them up. As far as the painting with the weather and everything, you couldn't keep the chairs. So they, mostly all your parts are switched to plastic.
These guys are ushers, and all total, they've seen thousands of games and millions of fans. Head usher Larry Knowles started out working part-time.
I started in 47, see, and I had just got married, and of course a few extra dollars would help, but we weren't making that kind of money in those days. I think all we got was about $3 a game. These ushers are unionized now. Every 3 years they have to renew the contract. They work for their money really now.
If you look over in the bleachers, that's the section assigned to new ushers. And you'll see a different type of usher, a female. The first woman was hired in the 1970s. Kathy Gould started in 1980. She was recruited by her colleagues.
Well, I used to come to the games a lot, and I knew a couple of the ushers here, and they told me because I've been here all the time watching the games on, I just come and work. So I applied and I got the job.
Now, the job can be hard work, but all the ushers agree that meeting the people and watching the game makes it fun. And after years of experience, they know which team will bring in rowdy crowds. It's predictable.
The Yankee crowd, I think, is the most loudest people, you know, boisterous. Because they come, like we had the New York Finest up here, you know, 1 year. And I think they had to throw about 5 or 6 of them out of here, even though they were police officers.
The Yankee-Red Sox rivalry has throughout the years brought havoc to Fenway, and everybody prepares for the game.
The Yankee games, the Yankee series, are traditionally and historically a different kind of action going on here. There's always, there's usually a lot of fights, and we're usually very busy, and we always have to gear up for the Yankee games.
The first aid facilities are equipped to handle the types of medical emergencies that happen in the stands. The team of 3 nurses, 2 EMTs, and an ambulance staffed with 2 more EMTs are at the park at all times, ready to treat people with injuries from falling down, fainting, getting hit with balls, or even cardiac arrest.
Sometimes we call this place the Boston Fenway Clinic because we get a lot of different types of requests. We see people who have had a sore throat for a week, or somebody that might have put their hand through a plate glass window before they came to the park, and they decided they wanted to see the game so bad that they would come to the park and then worry about it when they got here.
Out there with the fans, on call to supervise any major medical emergency, is the house doctor. Now there's a job with great fringe benefits. Now, the police detail that covers the games gets just as good a deal. They're off-duty Boston police officers paid for by the Red Sox. The officers are assigned to handle crowd control inside and outside the park, as well as direct traffic. They do, however, have time to watch most of the game without too much hassle. Aside from the Yankee crowds, the biggest problem for this detail is the traffic. And at game time, the Kenmore Square area is gridlocked.
Bottom line is there just really isn't a lot of parking around Fenway Park. On a normal night, we'll tow anywhere between 15 and 20 cars, and it just isn't ample parking space for all the people that want to bring their cars into the area. So we would encourage people to take public transportation that are going to be coming to the ballpark.
With all the hysteria and excitement following the Red Sox pennant win and World Series play, the police were able to keep the crowds under control. And that was good news for the city of Boston. It just goes to show you a professional ballpark can still operate inside the city.
It's like a neighborhood ballpark, and I think that adds to it being one of the best ballparks in the country.
Fenway stands poised, ready to begin the new season. The grass is growing, the mound is packed, the stands are painted, and the green monster is waiting.
Unfortunately for New England fans, the Red Sox record of winning and losing does not diminish the drama and excitement of coming here to watch a baseball game at Fenway Park. Of course, you want the home team to win, but it's a special thrill of coming to Fenway Park that keeps Fenway Fever thriving. Let's hope it never ends. I'm Bob Lobel. Good night.
Seasons of Fenway Fever has been brought to you by New England Renault Jeep Dealers, the Massachusetts State Lottery, L.A. Beer from Anheuser-Busch, Nestle's Chunky Bar, and by your local Hyundai dealers.